Hello, dosto. Welcome to the Bollywood talk show on IWMBuzz. We have the cast and crew of Haseen Dillruba on the house right now over here. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. The first question definitely goes to Kanika from my end because anything starts with the writing. So foundation वही से शुरू होता है. So my first question to you would be that I saw the film yesterday night, and जो मुझे लगा कि उसमें हर तरीके का एलिमेंट है, starting from comedy to giving out a message to eventually having elements of a thriller. There's everything kind of intermingled in one particular content, which is something that I love the most. How difficult is it as a writer to blend each and every quality together to ensure कि वो एकदम मसालेदार कुछ चीज हो?
यार फर्स्टली तो ये सोच के अंदर थैंक यू कि आपको पिक्चर अच्छी लगी, वी आर ऑल वेरी हैप्पी. सेकेंडली इस प्रोसेस के बारे में आई वुड जस्ट लाइक टू से कि ये एक कॉन्शियस डिसीजन नहीं होता कि ये एलिमेंट भी मतलब वो तो रेसिपी होगी ना, इसका तड़का उसका तड़का इतना हो. तो इट इज मोर ऑफ कि ये दुनिया है, इसमें ये लोग हैं और इनके साथ अभी सिचुएशन हो गई है और ये लोग अपने आप में इनकी सेंट्रिसिटीज हैं, इनकी बिलीफ सिस्टम्स हैं जो थोड़े कभी हमें फनी लगते हैं, बिजार लगते हैं. तो ये जर्नी इट वाज वेरी ट्रू टू द कैरेक्टर्स एंड द सिचुएशन दैट दे वर पुट इन. और बनते ये कहानी, ये दुनिया, ये किरदार, ये ऐसी सिचुएशंस बनी. एंड ऑफ कोर्स जो आप देख रहे हैं उसके बाद हमारे निर्देशक मिस्टर विनिल सर
Vinyl.
ये आए एंड आई मस्ट टेल यू कि ये एक बहुत ही डिफिकल्ट फिल्म है टू डायरेक्ट बिकॉज ऑन पेपर हमने ये सब लिख दिया पर इसको फॉर स्क्रीन ट्रांसलेट कर पाना बिकॉज इसमें कितने एलिमेंट्स हैं. एंड आई नो फॉर अ फैक्ट कि इससे पहले विनिल सर से पहले जितने भी लाइक कुछ डायरेक्टर्स के पास जब मैं ये स्क्रिप्ट लेके गई थी, पहली चीज कुछ तो घबरा गए थे. उन्होंने बोला भाई ये कैसे होगा. So I would also like to put it out there कि it was a wonderful experience writing it. मुझे बहुत मजा आया कि बहुत एक जोन एक ट्रिप था ये कहानी का और मुझे बहुत अच्छे पार्टनरशिप मिली विनिल सर में एज अ डायरेक्टर. एंड ऑफ कोर्स विक्रांत जैसे टैलेंट के साथ आई मीन आई ऑलवेज वांटेड टू वर्क विद विक्रांत एंड व्हेन विक्रांत अग्रीड टू डू दिस फिल्म बिकॉज रिशु का जो कैरेक्टर है आई वाज मोस्ट स्कैर्ड कि भाई ये कैसे होगा लिखने के बाद. But this is the only film like after a very long time when I if I may say so, it will sound very presumptuous, but when I saw it, when I see the last frame of this and I wanted to whistle for my hero. So
क्या बात है.
मेरे साथ मतलब कभी ऐसा हुआ नहीं है. तो अपनी हीरोइन से मैं बहुत प्यार करती हूँ तो सारी दुनिया जानती है, तो जग जाहिर है कि मैं पास हूँ. बट मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी तहे दिल से मैं अपने हीरो से बहुत प्यार करती हूँ उतना ही. एंड तापसी जी का तो काम आपने देख ही रखा है पहले भी. तो
जी ओह माय गॉड कनिका let me savor this moment.
खत्म करने देना मुझे. फिर कहा मुझे हाँ. एंड तापसी ने मेरे पे इल्जाम भी लगाया कि कनिका ऐसे टेढ़ी मेढ़ी कहानियां लिखती है और फिर आके मुझे फंसा लेती कि कर ले. बट मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि ये कैरेक्टर्स करने के लिए भी एक जिगरा चाहिए होता है. ये जो मैं किरदार लिखती हूँ ये एक रिस्क फैक्टर भी होता है इसमें एक गट्स चाहिए. सो इट्स ऑलमोस्ट लाइक नो गट्स नो ग्लोरी. एंड तापसी में भाई गट्स तो भर गए हैं, हमने देखा है.
गट्स
फुल पावर
for madness and it's always been a joy to work with her.
Taapsee ji.
I'm just like return later. That's my so it was a joyride literally, and I'm so glad that you liked it and enjoyed it in the way that we.
I loved it. Liked would be an understatement. I loved it. And before we go to Vinil sir, आप सीटी मारना चाहते थे ना? You can just probably do it right now for Taapsee.
एक्शन
सर आपको आता है, आप मार दो प्लीज उनके लिए, उनके बिहाफ.
विनल यार किसी को नहीं आती यार यहाँ पे, बड़े ही हम मतलब हंस लो.
मुझे वैसा वाला नहीं आता है,
मैं लिख सकती हूँ SEETI
love it. This is the best CT that probably Vikrant and Taapsee can.
विक्रांत के फेस को फ्रीज करके लिख दिया मैंने उसके ऊपर
CT.
Yeah. Lovely. But Vikrant sir, exactly continuing the point which Kanika mentioned right now कि ये एक फिल्म जो है which is very difficult to direct. मुझे डायरेक्शन का उतना सेंस नहीं है लेकिन फिर भी I understood because there are so many elements. So that is exactly what I want to ask you the next कि one thing is कि the writing जो कि दिखता है, but often what happens is कि the script might be really good but वो screenplay में translate नहीं हो पाता as per the way probably one would like to. But here at least मुझे जो लगा I personally feel it was done really well. So did you add your own inputs to what probably Kanika had initially, or you both were always on the same page since the very beginning?
So before I begin, मैं ये बता दूं आपको, हमारे यहाँ पे जितने भी बैठे हुए हैं ना, मतलब ये हम सब यहाँ पे सब में ना ह्यूमिलिटी कूट के भरी हुई है, ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे कोई
बात करो विक्रांत, अपनी बात करो तुम।
नहीं, मैं भी अपने आप को भी गिनता हूँ उस चीज में। यार सी, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, जैसे कनिका जी ने कहानी लिखी हुई थी, तो मैंने कहानी सुनी नहीं थी, मैंने कहानी पढ़ी थी, मतलब सुनी भी थी थोड़ी सी, बट मोर और लेस आई डिसाइडेड आफ्टर रीडिंग इट। तो जब पढ़ी थी तो मुझे ये पता था कि ऐसी दुनिया, मैंने अब तक जो भी मेरा अनुभव रहा है जिंदगी में, जितनी भी स्क्रिप्ट्स मैंने पढ़ी हैं, वो ऐसी कहानी, ऐसी दुनिया मैंने इमेजिन नहीं की थी। एंड अ लॉट ऑफ इट वाज लेड बेयर फॉर मोस्ट ऑफ अस टू फॉलो। एक जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है, जैसे आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा था इंटरव्यू के पहले, कि जो फाउंडेशन होती है कोई भी एक पिक्चर की, वो लिखावट ही होती है। और यहाँ पे क्योंकि कनिका ने इतना काम किया था, शी हैड लिव्ड विद द स्क्रिप्ट एंड स्टोरी एंड हर कैरेक्टर्स इन दिस वर्ल्ड फॉर सच अ लॉन्ग टाइम, दैट वो एक टाइम के बाद ना मंझ जाती है चीजें। तो आपको बहुत कुछ करने की, वो the worst thing that you can do to a good film is to try to better it, and you really don't want to do that in this case, because बहुत सारी चीजें जो हैं that they've already been provided to you, and उस चीज को, as Kanika herself said, to sort of translate what is written on paper visually, because it is such a non-existent world, आपको you're like creating something out of thin air, वो विनिल ने उसको कर दिया था। You could actually see it. You could see what his art direction was like. You could see what his lighting texture was like, what his frames were like. तो मेरे लिए मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट ये चीज थी कि जो लिखा गया है, जो मेरा डायरेक्टर देख रहा है, उसको मैं रिस्पॉन्ड कर पाऊं। एंड एनी कैरेक्टर, इफ यू सी, इज एन अमैलगमेशन ऑफ सो मेनी थिंग्स। जैसे मैंने अभी ये 3 पहलू तो आपको बताई दी, और भी चीजें होती हैं, जैसे कि व्हेन यू आर वर्किंग विद समवन ऑफ तापसी's caliber, there is so much that comes from her for your part. As I said, all you're doing is only responding. So it's an amalgamation of so many things that you really cannot sit back and pick out and choose as to what really worked or what. Obviously you do have your own interpretations too, because you've spent so much of time with the character, और मैं बहुत रीड करता हूँ, मैं पैरेलल सिचुएशंस क्रिएट करने की कोशिश करता हूँ, तो कुछ ना कुछ इनपुट्स मेरे भी होते हैं, बट देन यू रियली कैन नॉट सिट बैक एंड से कि okay, this is what I did here, because वो टेक के 1 मिनट पहले तक, like Vinil and I would discuss, Taapsee and I would discuss, all 3 of us would discuss, फिर वो उस इतने महीने आपने एक चीज की तैयारी की होती है, टेक के 1-1.5 मिनट पहले जो आपने डिस्कस किया होता है, कभी-कभी that turns out to be the most beautiful part, end moment पे जो आ जाता है। तो it's a lot of things.
Perfect. But Vinil sir, would you like to add anything to that, because वो writing के वहाँ से डायरेक्शन जिम्मेदारी तो आपके ऊपर ही था, so how did you actually take that forward? मतलब did you take that as a blessing in disguise कि चलो ठीक है, everything is fine, I can do it my own way, या फिर मतलब कुछ अलग तरीके के expectations थे from the team?
नो, एक्सपेक्टेशन तो वही थे जो नॉर्मली यहाँ डायरेक्टर के होते हैं, मतलब ऐसा खास अलग चीज नहीं था। I think Kanika and I spent some time once. First, Kanika when narrated the script to me, it really stayed with me, and it was a really good book. And in fact, a week after narrating, at that time I was doing something else. And then I called back Kanika saying कि ये वो पोस्ट खाली है कि नहीं, कि मैं अभी भी कर सकता हूँ। So she said, yeah, of course. And I came back, and then we sat together for quite some time before we thought it was ready for the actors to be presented, because there was a perspective I had, and then she was very gracious to collaborate. And then we did that, and once we were ready with the we felt it to be shared with the actors, and the actors came on board, and I think one just expects actors of their caliber to bring that kind of prep and understanding and into the roles, and they did that. So it was just kind of witnessing a lot of great performance and things happening in front of you, and making sure that you interfere so much to screw it up.
Wonderful. Coming to Taapsee now, my absolute favorite. I have said that 100 times. I don't know how many times.
Oh, thank you so much.
But what I want to ask you is the.
कैसे हो सकता है absolute favorite?
Why you jealous?
मेरे लिए personally तो है.
Very jealous Vinil.
यार तापसी देखो मिल गया आपको.
मेरे को you're jealous. He's been very vocal about that since quite some time. So by now I remember it very well.
Exactly. And what I want to ask you is the fact कि what I understood from your character, जितना भी मेरे में limited understanding है, कि your character is very fun loving and at the same time emotionally vulnerable. Now जितना मुझे psychology का थोड़ा बहुत idea है, वो ये है कि relationships या marriages there are usually top 3 reasons, because of which obviously there can be other reasons as well, but the top 3 reasons why they end is because number 1, lack of physical intimacy, number 2, lack of communication, and number 3 is external affairs and all. Yahan pe between Rishu and Rani, it obviously started with the intimate physical intimacy part. Wahan pe wo drifting initial wala chalu hua. What I want to know from your end is ki how much do you feel in any form of relationship physical intimacy का importance, can it sometimes overpower the importance and feeling of love, or do you think both should exist at the same level? आपका personal क्या ख्याल है?
जैसे कि इसके अंदर हुआ, इस फिल्म के अंदर it started with physical intimacy, but all the 3 points you mentioned were a very big reason for that relationship to not be the ideal relationship that you would have thought, right? So obviously it is a very important part of a husband-wife relationship, that the physical intimacy part. That is not the only thing you want out of your husband, but that's a very important part in a relationship. And it obviously looks or probably sounds very different when you hear from a woman's point of view that she didn't find that intimacy to work for her, like it didn't really do magic for her. That is not really shown or seen on screen, is why this film probably stands out in that respect. And then it goes on to, after the problem in the physical intimacy department, it moves on to the communication problem. Then the communication breaks between the two, and they are not able to express each other to each other the problems that they have very openly and discuss and sort it out, because somehow egos come in between, that whole thing of misunderstanding comes in between the couple. And then because the situation becomes so vulnerable, the second man who comes in, third person in the relationship, that person ends up taking away the girl in that situation, because वो situation ऐसी vulnerable हो जाती है जिस time पे you don't really know कि किसको पूरा गलत बोले और किसको सही बोले इसके अंदर. So it just graduates from one to the other. It's like a ripple effect. So you can't say that only one thing is the reason behind that drifting apart, or you cannot say that the physical intimacy is the only thing. But yes, it is a thing that can trigger a lot of other things in the relationship if not handled in the right way.
Yeah, I think very nicely and interestingly answered. ये physical intimacy के यहाँ से I want to ask Vikrant next. I have been reading, I don't know how many reports जहाँ पे तापसी ने कहा कि Vikrant was probably scared during those physical intimate scenes. तो अब तो भाई please बता ही दो कि were you genuinely scared या क्या scene था वहाँ पे? Because I have read. नहीं. What was it like?
नहीं कोई scared नहीं था. A lot of it has been misconstrued. But I think that works in our favor because we've got some really great eyeballs. Just because of this, clickbait headline by some publication. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है यार. It's very simple. We are thorough professionals, and I can definitely vouch for that. कि एक दूसरे का ख्याल रखना, I think, is a great sign of being gentle towards each other.
Yes.
So Taapsee was worried about our comfort. We were worried about her comfort, and eventually, as thorough professionals, you have to look after each other, and that was the only thing. पता नहीं ये कहाँ से बात बाहर निकल गई, but we actually don't mind. This clickbait headlines has really given us a lot of eyeballs, and we are very happy with it.
At the end of the day, happiness is what matters. That's all.
Absolutely.
And one last question before I wrap up to Taapsee is the fact that I want to put you in a situation जहाँ पे उस film में, of course, you were in a situation जहाँ पे groom's family has come to see you. Suppose अगर अपनी असली जिंदगी में तो ऐसा नहीं होने वाला, लेकिन suppose in a situation where you were there and the groom's family has come to see you and you want to shoo them away in a very polite manner, directly कुछ नहीं बोल के, so how would you actually do that?
But I don't understand ये situation पहले थोड़ी सी अजीब है. पहली बात तो अगर groom's family आई है मेरे घर में तो वो मेरे रजामंदी के बिना नहीं आई होगी. वो सिचुएशन ऐसा नहीं होगा कि मैं नहीं चाहती कि वो लोग आए तो वो लोग नहीं आए. अगर मैं चाहती हूँ तो वो नहीं आएंगे. अगर आ गए हैं तो मतलब कि मैं चाहती हूँ कि वो आए, तो मैं उनको क्यों शू अवे करूँ? तो मैं
what I'm saying is that in a situation जहाँ पे it's not happening in your real life, but suppose अगर ऐसा होता कि you're not really aware कि ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है and people have certainly turned up, like जैसे movies में दिखाते, so how would you react to that situation?
अतिथि देवो भव. I'll be welcoming to my guests. Please आइए, खाना खाइए, खाना खा के जाना, हाँ, like that. That's what I'll say.
Lovely. Thank you so much to everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to the team of Netflix as well for coordinating this one, and wish you guys all the best for everything that you do in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shubhoji.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.